Hello, my name is Star, and today the films are The Reluctant Fundamentalist and The Lady. So, going over the similarities and differences between the movies, the themes. So, I think the themes in The Reluctant Fundamentalist are like self belonging, self worth. I think race, not necessarily just racism, but mostly like race as a whole, um, like is a theme I think in both movies. But for The Reluctant Fundamentalist, there are some. There is a theme, or not a theme, but yeah, there are some. There's themes of racism and yeah, I think those are like the big ones, in my opinion. And then for the lady, um, I think I also feel like they're kind of similar in that way, where the lady also kind of has a theme of like belonging. Um, but yeah, so basically, I feel like for the lady, when I think about like a theme, I think about how when she basically when she she's stating to like the group of people that she's talking to how she she did grow up there, but she's like moved away, she lives in the UK. She's married a foreigner. It's like her I think about how her yes, her physical presence has moved away from Burma, but her heart remains in Burma still, and remains very much for the people still. Um, and yeah, I just feel like that's kind of what I think about when I'm like stating that like belonging is also kind of a theme in The Lady, which I think is I think that was like a pretty memorable, noble thing in the movie that they put in there, that she even though she was forced to stay, I think throughout the movie it was still like very very prevalent that she did want to stay regardless, because her job that she felt she owed to her father and to her to the people that she feels like she has a responsibility for wasn't done yet, so she yeah, she and the people were very welcoming still, even though she had moved away and she wasn't necessarily she wasn't like a politician all her life, she grew up and then she became like a very important figure. And I think for the characters, I feel like in The Lady, she's very much portrayed to me as like a graceful character and strong and very very brave, um, and very sensible, and she yeah, she holds herself with a grace, I think, especially the actress who plays her. She is obviously a very good actress, but I think that her look, her overall look just kind of sends beauty, and I think that her playing that character, the real life person, was a good choice, because yeah, I just feel like her she's very graceful. And for the reluctant fundamentalist, I think his character is portrayed as very logical and very what's the word, I'm doing a video. And very like what's the word? Thought provoking. Yeah, like he likes to ask questions and analyze things beyond his job, of course. But yeah, and when it comes to cultural representations, I think like they both portray like I think so they portray it differently. I think in the reluctant fundamentalist, it's like there's obviously like a US, like the American people, you know, kind of versus like people that look a certain way, that like look, Middle Eastern, especially after 9 or specifically after 9/11. Like that kind of, like that theme of racism comes to play. But like specifically the way that the culture is represented, I think there's a lot of like representation of like American people in kind of a bad light. But like in a very like good way. Like it's not directly like Americans are bad, but I think that it's supposed to paint a different picture, than most American movies. I feel like paint. There's always like the villain, and they're like a lot of times they're like people of color or like immigrants and just that type of thing, and it's like very biased and very like the opposite of progressive, I guess. But yeah, I think there's like that, and then like then you also have the representation like of the culture, that he's a part of, the main character, and he is trying to find like where he belongs in both of the cultures that he's surrounded by, like the American way, or like just America, and then the his familial way, which is like where he comes from, and his like the culture he was surrounded by before he moved to the US, and then after he came back from the US. But yeah, I just think I'm not sure how to like how they're like represented. I just feel like that's like the way that I see the cultures in the movie. And then yeah, there's definitely stereotypes and biases in each movie. And then I think in The Lady, it's like I think the cultures are more represented like within the country, like the people in the country, and the people in Burma, they like are kind of in like their own war, like as a whole, because you have like one group of people that's like kind of like savagery or like fighting against what the other side's going for, which is like democracy and freedom, and human rights. And then you have this other part that's like trying to create chaos and live in a continuously like militaristic kind of way, and that's all like internal. I feel like within the people of the country. Other people like report about it, like reporters and stuff like that, and like the husband, he's not from Burma, he's from like the UK, and even though he still cares, I think most of the way that the culture is represented, I think for me, mostly like comes through in the people that are from Burma and how they're reacting to the government situation, and like in the movie, and also because it happened like in real life. But yeah, I think So let's see. I think. Hold on, let me check. Okay. I think the political implications of the events and issues portrayed in both films. So yeah, I think, let's say in The Reluctant Fundamentalist, um, hmm. I think so. Like, I guess I would say the political implications and like events and issues portrayed in the films. In The Reluctant Fundamentalist, it's kind of like what I mentioned a bit. It's definitely like portraying a a world or society that like is biased, I guess, and like judgmental, and it's basically like, I think it's implying like, or it's showcasing like a different perspective, I guess. Like it's basically like trying to show how it can feel for someone who's trying to like balance two different worlds and find their place, within themselves and within the the physical place they're living in. I think it's very much trying to show that and how it can feel and how like affected you are by it, and how much like society and the people that you choose to surround yourself with, like how much their impact can have on you, or like how much like how much a totally outer like source can have on one person. Like it's kind of vice versa. You know how like after 9/11 a lot of people were super like, they just assumed a lot and had very like strong opinions on people, that looked a certain way, like the main character, like Muslim, people from just anywhere in the middle, like Pakistan, Iran, just basically anywhere. I'm just thinking of like all those places. And this, is also from like personal experience that I've seen people, mostly when I was younger, like judge someone for looking a certain way, even if they like literally were born in America, which is insane. But yeah, I think like that, having that thing happen that had nothing to do with so many people, how an event that happens like either worldwide or just in like one state, right, in a country, can affect one person, and how that person's already going through their own turmoil, how much deeper like that like, I guess like the like I had a word in my brain. I guess like the misunderstandings and biases and like treatment and like just the overall outcomes of like those type of situations, I guess. Um and then I want to talk about, but yeah, I think the lady's similar in that sense, where like it's, but like I think it's more so focusing on like the relationship between obviously like the main character and like the people she's like trying to help in her country, and like the overall like human rights issue of it all, and how I don't know, I think it portrays it in like a more like personal sense. Well, I guess they're both like personal, like focus on one person, but I guess like the movie The Lady, like represents it differently in like the sense that it's like, although there is a bigger, like there's a bigger picture, but it's also like her own life and how she's dealing with it, right? And there, it's similar to like the other movie, but I just feel like basically in The Lady, I just feel like the bigger picture is a bit more like, I'm not sure how to say it. Like, either it's like more known because it's like focused on just the issue of like, the dictatorship and like the lack of human rights in Burma. Whereas like The Reluctant Fundamentalist, yes, there's like a bigger picture of like why certain biases like have were created, but like he's not like someone fighting like for his country. Like he is, in a sense, I guess in the end, like he's trying to prove a point. He's trying to educate someone, but he is just like one person. And the lady, the main character, she in real life was like someone that a lot of people knew. I guess that's like where they differ. And then really quick, the filmmaker's perspective for The Reluctant Fundamentalist. I read basically from this article. It's called like, or I guess like, let me just, my page is all small, I can't see. Okay, basically it's from a site called The Interview, and yeah, she talks about, I'm almost done. She talks about the like why she made it basically, and because she wanted to show like what the Pakistan dream was, because there's always like the American dream, but like no one talks about like what's after that, like what else is there besides the American dream. So I thought that was interesting. And then for The Lady, the director, he specifically said that he made this movie because he remembered the actual lady. I think her name was like Suki. She, I have it right here. Aung San Suu Kyi. She said like use your freedom to fight for others, basically. Like if someone can't, and he said that in an interview. I think it was like from YouTube. It was from Asia Society. That's what like the channel's called. And he basically says he did some research on like Burma and stuff like that, and he coming across like all these things, realized that Burma, they can't make, at least at the time that this was, they can't make films there. And so he basically, decided to make this film to, help be the voice for others that don't have a voice, or that can't, portray things in a certain light, such as in film. So that's why he made this, the movie The Lady. And I think it was a good movie. I think overall they were pretty good movies. But yeah, I have to say, this module, for some reason, it was like not my favorite. Even though the movies were good, I think overall the things were a bit harder for me to piece together. Not in terms of the movie plot, but like the overall pictures. But yeah, so that's all. Thank you for watching.